Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of Awaken Your Spirit with my friend David 𝘾𝙧. I am Julie Murphy, and I am actually in Reno, Nevada today. I've been on a spiritual quest this week, visiting all of the really big, energetic nature places across the country, and I'm continuing on my journey and stopped here in Reno to make sure I had Wi-Fi and make sure that we're connecting with you. David, would you like to tell everybody about yourself?
Yeah, well, it's wonderful to connect with everybody again. I'm in beautiful Sedona. And so, we're just bringing this wonderful energy from all these power places and vortexes here, and bringing that to you this morning so that you can enjoy the energy of that without having to come to Sedona, although we'd love to have you whenever you could get here.
Well, and let's talk about that, because one of the things that I realized when I was originally doing the energy work behind everything is the fact that I used to physically think that I had to be there. And I think that's important for everybody to understand. It's no different than how our cell phones work. And I want you to remember that we as human beings are energy, so we can do things in what they call this holographic layer of the universe that quantum physicists now understand to be reality. And so we are doing, I have been doing this kind of energy work for years now, and David's specialty is the fact that he helps people really activate their soul and activate what it is that they are all about. And so it's really, really, really important that in times like this, that we go inside and connect with our true selves and amplify that, because the world needs us more than ever. I did a Facebook post this past week that it was interesting. It went really far around the world, and it was all about the fact that we have to really be ourselves now more than ever. And we've been hiding. We have been not intentionally hiding. I just feel that what's happened with so many people is that we have gotten to a place where life just kind of took us on another course. And we are going to continue to have lesson after lesson. And we do not need to call in a crisis to actually shift our lives into the life that actually we've always dreamed of. So a friend of mine always says, if you shift your energy, then you shift your life, because it all starts from the energetic perspective. And I'm always talking about that. Your thoughts, your words, and your feelings are all a vibrational field that you put out into the world. And we want to make sure that those thoughts, words, and feelings are aligned with your soul. And that's why we're doing these sessions here with David, so that we can share some of that energy for you to really wake up and get out there in the world. And live in the present moment as much as we possibly can. Any thoughts, David?
Right. Well, it's like what happens when there's big changes, like we're going through, is that people seem to naturally get reactive. And when they get reactive, they'll go into their fear and start projecting that. So what we're doing is we're going into our heart, we're going into our soul, we're going into that part of us that isn't touched by the world. It's that part of us that's pure. It's the place where we have pure love, pure connection. And from that level, we can, one, choose the state that we want to be in, and also then from that space, create the kind of lives that we want and project a positive flow of energy, rather than being reactive and caught up in what I would call mass consciousness reaction. So this is really an opportunity to connect with yourself in very powerful levels in your heart center and your soul, and allow that to start to come forward and blossom and expand and literally transform your life.
Right. And we have been spending so much of our time living our lives from our minds. I always like to say our ego minds and not our hearts. And I know just a few months ago, you pointed out to me going, Julie, that was a really powerful statement. What I said, you know, I've ignored my heart for so long that I don't even know exactly what my heart wants. And this is where the energy work that we're about to embark on here will help us do that, help us more align with our heart and our soul. And to your point, a very untouched place that no matter what is going on in the world around us, this no one can ever take from you. So why don't we start bringing everyone the energy, and so we can start to pull everybody forward in their lives. And remember, when we're doing this energy work, whether you're seeing it live or whether you're seeing it, you know, 2 months down the road, the energy is still shared. It is still timeless. So just know that if you're tuning into this and tuning into this session, it will help you for whenever it is that you're watching it. So I want people to keep that in mind as well.
Right. So, you know, it's like bringing everything, really where we're going today is with the knowing that ultimately we create our own reality. And this is a great wake-up time on the planet to literally wake up and go deep within and cultivate a culture of love, of passion, of creativity and joy, all which exists within you. The mind has its stories, and when the mind has an opportunity to be jolted by outer unfoldings, like when it gets jolted into fear, then it starts to create in negative ways. So what we're doing is we're going in and we're going into your core, and we're going to, in a very conscious and clear way, start creating realities that you choose, that you, rather than react to, it's like you choose. And what that does is it takes you into a place of empowerment.
Absolutely.
And ultimately into joy.
Well, and what I would tell people is just witness and be present to this session today, because on a cellular level, you will feel the energy. And some of you tonight may be a little tired, or make sure you're drinking water the rest of the day, because energy work, it's going to move stuff, and you want to help detoxify and move the body. So drinking water, making sure, most of you will probably realize that you're awfully sleepy tonight because your physical body has done a lot of work today with the energy session we're about to do. So just things to keep in mind. Right.
So we're going to go on an energetic journey, and some of you have experienced this before. Maybe some of you it's new. And all you have to do is relax and just go with it, however it feels or shows up for you. You can't do it wrong, okay? So don't worry about that at all. I'd like you to go into your core. So I'd like you to go deep into your quiet place within. Deep into.
And I know I find that that's easier for me to do if I close my eyes and tune into to what's going on in my body. So that, just so people are aware if they've never been exposed to this before.
Okay. All right. So let's go deep within. And I want you to use your capacity to visualize or imagine. And I want you to experience yourself standing at the base of a radiant pyramid of 24-karat golden light. And there's actually 13 of them stacked on top of each other. If you want to go that far, just be in that pyramid of light. And at the base of the pyramid are 3 circles of light of 13 mama dragons, 13 13-pointed stars, and 13 dream weavers. And I want you to feel a 24-karat golden light, plasma light, coming from the central sun to move into your toes, your arches. Feel it flowing into your heels. We're going to bring that 24-karat golden light up your legs. I want you to feel it moving into your hips. There we go. And I want you to feel a radiant sun, the central sun, being placed at the base of your spine. I just want you to feel a radiant sun. Feel the energy of that sun at the base of your spine, just kind of getting your whole energy fields activated. And we're going to take that golden light up your spine. And when we get to the heart center, I want you to feel an explosion of light. I want you to feel your heart getting to really open and connect. And for all your mothers out there, I want you to connect into your love you have for your children, and even a step further, go into Mama Bear and feel the power of that love. Feel that really expanding, and feel that expanding in a way that you start to feel a vibration in your heart center. We want to feel that vibration and feel the heart just really opening, switching on here. All right, and we're going to continue with this golden light up your spine, into your shoulders. I'd like you to feel that golden light, that 24 karat golden light flowing into your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms, your hands, your fingers. Feel it flowing out your fingertips. And from there, we're going to go to your brain stem. And I'd like you to feel all central sun or a radiant sun at your brain stem, the base of your neck, feeling that radiance. And we're going to connect the sun at the base of your spine to the sun at the base of your brain stem with a 24 karat golden light, a toric field of light. And that's a toric field is a field of light that goes from the base of your spine, goes through your heart, up through the sun at the base of your brain stem, and recirculates. So almost like a figure eight that connects in the middle with your heart, and just feel that, feel that energy moving and connecting. So I'd like you to really feel a really strong energy moving from the base of your spine through your heart to your brain stem, and then recirculating, feeling a really strong toric field of light. There we go. So we're going to go back to the brain stem, feeling that radiant sun. And we're going to activate your thymus, your hypothalamus, and your pituitary glands, feeling them being energized. And the pituitary, which is in the center of the brain, is also your, we're going to activate that, placing a central sun in the pineal gland. And we're going to expand that pineal gland. I want you to feel the radiance of that central sun in the pineal gland and in the neurostructure of the brain, feeling all the neurons in your brain switching on, connecting. And we're going to expand that pineal gland first to where it's global, and then we're going to expand it to where it's galactic, and then we're going to expand it to where it's interdimensional. So we're just feeling this huge expansion of your capacity to connect into the multiverse, into the vaster universe and connection. There we go. And we're just going to concentrate on feeling that light expanding, feeling a luminosity in the brain and the brain cells, a radiance. There we go. So we want to feel your whole physical body really switching on with this flow of light, this flow of energy. And I'm going to ask you now to spiral out your third eye, out your crown, out the apex of the pyramid. And we're going to start traveling as plasma light in form, merging the plasma of your blood with the plasma of the central sun, creating a fusion of light. As we're traveling through the galactic corridor, we're going to go through the galactic gateway, through the initiate, and we're going to move into a kaleidoscope of fractal light. So there's this beautiful prismatic kaleidoscope of fractal light that is moving in a clockwise direction. I want you to feel yourself being drawn into those fractals of light, drawn into really the core, the apex of that kaleidoscope where there's an oculus or all-seeing eye and the central sun. And so I want you to take everything that you've been thinking about, everything that's been really stressing you at all, and I want you to just start flowing that into those fractals of light. Just imagine yourself just pouring all that into that kaleidoscope, just projecting everything that's been in your mind, that's been in your emotional body, and we're going to literally go into those fractals of light. And as you're traveling in those fractals of light, I want you to feel that light really clearing and cleansing and purifying your mental body and your emotional body. Feel yourself just releasing everything into this radiant light. There we go. And just keep releasing that as you go, releasing it into the central sun. Just feeling a flow of energy. Feeling your heart really start to open and connect. Really opening and connecting into your core. And feeling that flow. And as I've said before, oftentimes just thinking about how much you love your children is a great way to also open that heart, get into the core, get into the flow of these fractals of light. And we're just going to start traveling now in that energy. I'm going to really kind of accelerate the energy now. Just feel yourself kind of dissolving into liquid light, of feeling an energy of flow moving through your body. Feel your rational mind just surrendering into a peaceful flow of energy and joy, just relaxing completely. There you go. Releasing everything that is on your mind, just surrendering it all. Deciding that for this hour, you are going to just be in a peaceful and joyful place. Just allowing this light, these fractals of light, to clear you, transform you, bring you into a very peaceful state of being. Feel yourself connecting with the inner levels of you. There we go. Just like you're traveling in a river of light through these fractals of light. Just allowing the flow of the energy, the flow of the light. Feel it releasing all the tension in your body. There we go.
I would like to share with people that if you're feeling stuff in your body, just know that that's coming up because whether it's physical pain or it's that something is coming up to leave. And we don't necessarily need to know what that is. It's just know that energetically, it's something coming up and it's going.
Julie, are you starting to feel that flow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you turn it up a little bit?
Yep.
Because I'd really like people to be able to physiologically feel it so they can feel the energy work really doing its thing. This is about allowing the expansion of your true self, receive the energy that David is sharing so that it allows you to expand. Not an easy task per se for those of us who are big doers in the world.
How's that flow feeling to you now, Julie?
Good.
You know, I was going to say to you, there's a lot of violet light coming out of your hands today around your entire body. I'm going to open up the portal of the Divine Feminine, which is a portal that is here in Sedona that's really connected with the property that I'm connected with. So we want to open up the portal of the Divine Mother, and it's also the Earth Mother bringing in the Divine Feminine in a really powerful way. So Julie, as you're going to these different sites across the country, how do you feel the energy there?
Well, it's really interesting. I was in Yellowstone yesterday at Old Faithful, and we actually stayed on property there, and the energy was off the charts, to the point like I had a very restless sleep. And so what I'm understanding to be true is that these power centers, these energy centers in nature is what I'm drawn to right now. And I feel it's part of a soulful journey that I'm just trusting that this is what I'm supposed to be doing this week. And it will be part of my foundation, you know, in the work that I'm doing in the world moving forward. Because one of the things that happens is when we carve out space from our lives, like I don't have my children for a 10-day window because they're with their dad on his vacation time. And so I wanted to, since that space was created for me, I wanted to make sure that I was taking advantage of tuning into myself and what's true for me today. And I find it so interesting that left town in a period of time where more riots and looting started happening in Chicago, major tornado storms. It was almost as if spirit pulled me out of all that chaos and everything for me to be centered and grounded, because I can do my job from anywhere across the country, actually anywhere around the world, thanks to technology. And it's just going to be the basis for the next phase of my life and all these power centers in nature. And I don't think that we realize energetically how important nature is for all of us, because it helps us get into our core and into our center. And there's energy in all of that. And I got really clear where those places were that I was supposed to be headed on this journey.
So I think part of our walk now is once we come to terms with the fact that our lives have changed, and that the lives that we have known are no longer, it's never going to be the same.
Right.
But it also gives an opportunity for tremendous transformation, and it gives opportunity for breakthrough. So, you know, all of us signed up to be on this journey. Whether we remember we signed up or not, we did, because we're here and we're in it. So part of that is going, okay, life is different. And now I'm up for the journey, I'm up for the task, I'm up for the adventure of awakening. And most people will not awaken unless their worlds are shaken up a little bit because we get comfortable. We call it fall into our patterns and our norms. And this, like Julie going across the country and connecting with all these power spots, what a wonderful opportunity. One, just to be on a journey like that, but two, to really connect with the land, connect with the mother, to connect with the country. You know, it's we've all been so used to just getting on a plane and going wherever we need to go, but to do a road trip is quite extraordinary. And so, you know, I want to talk a little bit about the land. And I've been trained as a shaman. I've worked with the land for quite a while. And so, you know, just kind of a quick refresher of a shaman sees the world in terms of energy rather than in terms of form.
Right.
And so from that point of view, as we see these rock formations, we see these extraordinary, beautiful structures of Mother Earth. When we can remember that we are, in fact, atomic structure ourselves, and that if we kind of look from a different lens of awareness, that we can look at these beautiful anomalies and structures of nature, these huge rock formations, these mountains, and imagine them as just vibrating light. So atomic structure, right? Vibrating light. And kind of go into your core and imagine your body is vibrating light or atomic structure, and kind of project your physical atomic structure into the structure of the mountains, the vibration of the mountains, and just see where you go with that and see what you start to know. So everything that we've thought is as inert is actually very alive, very connected. And we're in a journey of returning to nature, to the mother, to the earth, so that we can restructure, reconfigure our physical beings and our consciousness, opening our heart, opening our core to remember the legacy that we carry as humans of living light, that we are moving beyond the mental structures that we've been programmed with, which are not either good or bad, and going deep into the core, deep into the levels of knowing, where we have tremendous wisdom, tremendous awareness, and the flow of nature. So you've heard me talk before, if you've been on this particular cast, as moving into a process of metamorphosis. And a metamorphosis is that process of the dissolving of the caterpillar into kind of this liquid substance called and moving into a evolution of the butterfly. So from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And there's that in-between process called the pupae. And that's the process of dissolving and reconfiguring. And so I believe that we as a human society, we as the earth are in this restructuring, this reconfiguration of being, so that we can go into much higher levels of awareness, where we can do no harm, where we no longer destroy the earth, but we not only are empowered by the mother, but we also are empowered as a species to awaken into the fullness of our being. So the journey that we're on is very organic. it's very connected to the earth, to the sun. It is an evolutionary process that we're in that is really quite extraordinary. And once we surrender into that and allow that and open up our curiosity and go, what is it? What could that possibly be? How would that show up? How would that affect me in a way that would be positive? And so it's in this allowing, and it's going into the inner part of you that's been dormant, perhaps, the soul level that is now starting to awaken, because vibrationally we're being awakened on a planetary scale. And even though there's a lot of reactivity and a lot of fear, once we move past that, we go into this deep, deep state of knowing, this deep state of love, and this deep state of light. And there, at the very core of our being, we find that all is well, that we are in a vibrational experience, vibrational transformation, and that all we really need to do is allow ourselves to be part of that. Allow ourselves to say, okay, I am fully open to going through a total reconfiguration of being, a total reconfiguration of consciousness, that I am going to fully surrender to the mother, to the core of my being. And in that, we are going to go through this reconfiguration, or what we, have aligned ourselves with, which is to go through a metamorphosis. And the mind can't take us through the metamorphosis. Only the heart can take us through the metamorphosis. The mind's job was to keep us in recreating the same thing over and over and over again.
And I'd like for people to recognize that if you're continuing to call in crises in your life, whether it's something in your financials or your personal life or your work life, if crisis after crisis continues to happen, that is a sure tell sign that you are still operating from the mind and not operating from the heart, because those lessons will continue to keep coming until you shift and drop into your heart and start making decisions from that vantage point, as opposed to your mind.
Right. So as people are moving through those crises, it's like, rather than trying to fight whatever is occurring, it's really powerful to go into your knowing. So your knowing comes from the heart center. And the knowing is, okay, this is unfolding in my life. What am I to experience from this? What am I to learn from this? How am I to navigate this? And when we go through that kind of experience in what I call a surrendered place, which is not, we can be surrendered and empowered at the same time. But when we're moving through these with the heart rather than so much of the mind, we see very different outcomes. And so we're going to go back into, I want you to go back to that place of the fractals of light. Okay, so you're in this kaleidoscope of fractals of light. And I want you to take whatever seems to be your biggest issue, your biggest problem, and I want you to just start projecting that into that kaleidoscope. Just put it in those fractals of light, and see yourself heading into a very bright sun, that you're becoming, that you're dissolving in the sun. You're dissolving these issues just for this period of time. in those fractals of light. And I want you to do this as kind of an experiment, okay? So if you're not used to doing this, and go, you know, okay, I'm willing to try this. It seems crazy, perhaps, but I'm willing to just release everything that's going on in me into these fractals of light for this period of time that we're on this call, and see if something doesn't shift or happen for me. Could be a shift of perception. It could be a phone call. It could be an opportunity. But just where you're really in this flow and this connection. So Julie, in your journey that you're taking, do you really have a plan, or are you just letting yourself kind of let it unfold?
Yes, we have no plan, which is interesting because so many people are like, well, where are you guys going? We're like, we don't know. We just rented a car and we're driving west. And we literally just knew that we were first going to go. I had an aunt that worked with the Indian tribes in South Dakota when before she died. And it brought us to the Badlands in South Dakota. That's where we started. And, you know, obviously I'm working with shamans, not only yourself, David, but other shamans, and which I really feel that I was guided to do a lot of that work, you know, and it's connected to my aunt in some fashion. And then, you know, being right there, we stopped by Mount Rushmore, which I found was very interesting because there was so much fighting. I almost feel like what happened in the Black Hills here in the United States, from a historical perspective, reminds me a lot of, like, right now we really have anything that aligns with the mind and the ego is the old patriarch energy. That's the energy that's really falling apart and falling away in our world, which is why we're having all this infrastructure erosion right now. That is, I feel, is going to continue to happen over the next couple of years, from our educational system to everything. And interestingly enough, Mount Rushmore really represents like the patriarchy taking over what was naturally there on Mother Earth and putting its stamp on it. It feels very egoic to me, very much part of the past, yet amazing to see, but yet very symbolic of, I feel, the way things have been. Then went to Yellowstone afterwards, and we're staying open. I know we're headed to Mount Shasta. Today we will arrive there. And that's in California. All very significant powerhouses. And to what you're saying earlier about Mother Gaia, what dawned on me as I was hiking yesterday morning around Old Faithful and all the geysers there, is that, you know, our human bodies really do represent the earth. The earth is about 80% water. Our physical bodies are about 80% water. Our rivers and our streams are just like our veins and our capillaries throughout our body. You know, it's this network and this system of liquids flowing through, which is, you know, like Mother Earth. And as the person I'm traveling with said, well, what part of the human body is like the geysers? And I'm like, well, you know, I've noticed when I do some of this energy work and things of that nature, like maybe I'll vomit, or, you know, things will move through my system really fast. Like that's it, getting it out, like whatever needs to get out, it just like a geyser. So there's so many similarities between our human bodies and nature. And a lot of these indigenous tribes knew that, and we have gotten away from that. But many of these indigenous tribes have been told from generation to generation that they needed to keep their knowings sacred and pass them down generation to generation, because in 5,000 years, which is now, the world was going to need them, and it is more true than ever. So I am absolutely fascinated by this as I align more with my soul and my spirit. Um, and I even talk about that in my book, Awaken Your Wealth, that wealth doesn't necessarily mean money. And we've gotten away from this core of who we truly are in being happy. And it's time for us to shift before more crisis comes. And every single one of us, as we do our own individual work, helps raise the vibration of the collective. And that's part of why I'm drawn to do this awakening series, with Awakening Your Spirit, Awaken Your Relationships, Awaken Your Health, and soon to come Awaken Your Work Life. Because so many of us are not living from our core.
It's really the key, you know, is opening that heart and getting, because that's the power center. And once that is fully engaged and in place, that is your true north. So from the heart, what opens is this body of intelligence, this body of knowing. And so for everybody that's engaged in or on this path of awakening, there's a whole level of you, that a whole body of knowledge within you, a voice within you that is your authentic self, that is your soul, that is in the process of wanting to come forth and be a very integrated and part of your being. So this, as we've talked about in this metamorphosis, is that this knowing, this knowing that comes in, that's different from the mental, and following that knowing is so important because it is connected into the multiverse. And so oftentimes I will have a thought of what I think I'm going to do or what's going to unfold. And then I'll go into the knowing, and the knowing can sometimes almost be the exact opposite, where I'm like, and I'll always go with the knowing. And with knowing comes the process of allowing, and that allowing is surrender, but it's empowered surrender. So a lot of people think of surrender as like giving up. This is very, very different. This is about stepping forward, of stepping fully into your light self, into your knowing, into your love, into all the internal resources that are within you that are now in the process of becoming unveiled, of revealing themselves, of coming through in ways that are very practical, definitely necessary in navigating the next part of our journey. It's essential. It's not, you know, at one time the spiritual journey was like, it was great, you know, for people that have the time or whatever, but now you have to make the time. It is absolutely critical and essential that you get into your core and you move into that part of you that is just waiting to be recognized and waiting to support you in this transformational process that you're in.
And I think it's important to know that as you do this work and you tune into this higher vibration energy that we're sharing today, that things are going to fall away from you. And the key is allow it to fall away. You know, one of my mentors, love him dearly, we had some business changes that occurred about a year ago. And he's been my mentor for a long time. And he said, you know, we had someone we worked with for many, many years decide to go in a different direction. And I just said to him, I go, maybe not everyone's supposed to go where we're going. And it's okay for them to go on their own path and their own journey. So know that that is going to happen to each and every one of you, because we're all starting to get to a place of deeper understanding of our authenticity. And it's absolutely okay for those people to allow them to leave, allow the space to be created in your life for the next to come in, because the energy work that we're doing today is going to be a catalyst in more of that happening. Because anything that is not aligned with your soul and not aligned with your heart will fall away. And particularly if you come back every week and join us in this work, that will be the regular and consistency of continuing to have this movement forward to a place of your heart's desire and a place of empowerment. And you will be amazed at what shifts in your life. Like, I had no idea after I did my first session with David back in 2016 that I was about to set onto a journey where I let go of my marriage, have a whole new staff at my firm. So everyone who aligned with who I was left, because, and then what came into my world was everyone who was aligned for where I was going came into my life. And it was a lot of letting go. And we don't need to call in the crisis to happen. Many of us have had crises already, but we don't need to be in this crisis reactive space. We can have it be more of a softer landing.
So I think, you know, a way to state it is that finally, you know, for those of us that are adventurers, okay? So it's like many people in the business world they're leaders because as times change, things change, they figure out the new trend. They figure out which way the wind's blowing, if you will. Mm-hmm. And they get on board because they know that that's because they're entrepreneurs. They ride the crest of the wave of change. And part of change is also a big part of following trends so that you can be on top of the flow of business. So what I find is people that, business people, you know, you are the adventurers, you are on the new frontier. And once we reconcile with the changes that are going on and going, okay, you know what, things are changing. I need to get aligned with that and get it. I'm going to step into that. I'm going to be empowered by it. And hey, if I'm going through into a new life and a new transformation, then let me kind of set my sails to be going with that flow of energy and see what's on the horizon, see what's the, you know, we as Americans are renowned for our ability to be leaders. And so we're leading again. We're leading into the new world, if you will, but this time it's new dimensions, it's new frontiers. And I think it's so powerful as Julie has been revisiting many of those of the American heroes and all the transformation that's happened in the history of our country, and connecting into that. That's what we're made of. That's who we are. Mm-hmm. That's what Americans are. That we're up for the task. We're up for the transformation. And so this transformational is the transformation of the heart, the transformation of the soul. We are literally being reconfigured and reinvented, if you will, into a much more evolved consciousness, into a human that is not only of Earth, but of many other dimensions. And as we move in our technology to where we're able to go into different universes and different planets, that we're being prepared now. We are pre-wired for this. So all we have to do is allow it to occur, allow it to happen, and surrender into it and go, okay, I'm up for the adventure. Here I go. I'm in.
Well, and part of being in the adventure is, as I mentioned, come back, every Tuesday morning here at 8 a.m. because we want to continue to help expand your energy and expand who you are and what you're supposed to be participating in the world at this juncture, because you have gifts that God gave you that nobody else has. And as I've become more open and more enlightened along my path, didn't really think that things would necessarily fall into where they fall. But I promise you that I will continue on my journey to let my freak flag fly, like being a financial planner that brings energy workers to help you shift, because I know that that is a core element to help you make a quantum leap. And I know I'm doing things that so many financial planners do not do, but that's me being in my authentic self. And no different than David at this point in his life. He was an interior designer, and he's working with crystals and doing energy work now as he's stepped into what his authenticity is. And so it's okay to make these quantum leaps. It's okay to be in alignment, because what happens then is then you physically are then healthier. You don't create disease in your body for a crisis for it all to align, because you align with who you are and what you're meant to be in the world, and it creates more happiness for yourself. And I'm watching even my own children, sitting here going, oh my God, why did I participate in my marriage the way that I did? And I see my kids having some remnants of that. And it's like, that's okay, because their soul needed that part of the journey as well, for whatever it is that they're going to make an impact in the world. Because on a soul level, they called me in as their mom and their dad in as their dad. And no different than my business owners, my fellow business partners, and things of that nature. So, David, I can't believe an hour has gone by again. This just is amazing. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. And David, how can people find you if they want to do individual sessions with you? Because I think it's important that if you're called to do that, to really amplify and zone in on just your energetic path, your soul's path, how can they find you, David?
If you go to 𝐾𝐮𝐭𝐡𝐨𝐫.com, you can get to my website, and if you contact me, I will get back to you relatively quickly. So, it's like I was an interior designer, and then I went to a whole nother level of being an interior designer.
It's the interior designing of souls.
Soul. Yeah. Who knew, right?
Exactly. It's so beautiful. Well, I was just going to say, and by all means, juliemurphy.com, come check out, the rest of the Awakening series. And I want everybody to know that in the next few weeks, I'm going to be launching, I'm going to be giving out a free copy of my book to help people on their journey. And so look out for that. If you go to juliemurphy.com and just sign in, give us your email address, then you'll be alerted when that comes. And if you're wanting to awaken your relationships, we will be live at 9 a.m. Central Time this Thursday, or Awakening Your Health is next Monday at 8 p.m. Central. And by all means, let's awaken your spirit a little bit more, and we'll see you then next Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central. Much love to everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Much love. And Julie, I'm waiting to have that energy burst from your trip to Shasta.
Oh, wow. I know. We'll be there later today. I'm super excited.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.